going to be a workshop that we have for both parents and students on college exploration and some basic college terminology, and we'll give a step-by-step at the end, but we're going to step right through this on the kind of how to explore and how to figure out where to apply, based on what career you want. So let's get this started. Welcome in. I'm Steve Soderback. I'm the director of the College and Career Center here at Vista High.
Hi, everybody. My name is Adelie Simpson, and I'm one of your school counselors.
And hi, I'm Ms. Gonzalez, and I'm a school counseling intern for this year.
And we're going to be going through some basics here with you. So bear with us as we go through the slides here. Of course, we'd like to do this in person, but there's a pandemic going, so this is the best we can do right now. So first off, before you make a choice to figure out where you want to go to college, you kind of need to know what you're going to want to study. And part of that is doing career exploration. I've left a couple of links in the slides in here. And by the way, the slides are going to be available in the document for college night. So the slides are both available in English and Spanish. So the links down here are to two good websites to do career exploration. One's called My Next Move, and the other one is called California Career Zone. You can take a little interest inventory there. They'll give you some suggestions on careers you might want to dig into, and they also have a lot of more information in there. So you really want to kind of figure out what kind of career you want first, and then choose your college major, and then choose your college you want to go to. So while you're here at Vista High, as part of the process of career exploration, we really like you to go through things like some sort of assessment, which is a quick quiz you do. Also do some research, and I have plenty of information that students can come to the Career Center. I'll give them all sorts of information on where to look up research for careers. We also have a ton of activities, not as many while we're doing during the pandemic here, but these are all sort of different levels of engagement where students can kind of figure out not only kind of sample what possible careers are out there, but also talk to people who are actually doing it right now, up to finding internships in that particular occupation as well. So, and those are things that the students can come to the Career Center and find out more about. And hopefully students can kind of get to a point where they're making up either a 5 or a 10-year plan of their future. So post-secondary pathways, depending on your career choice, you're going to need a different level of education, right? When we say you need to go to college, what we're really saying is you need additional training, usually for most careers outside of high school. And sometimes that's going to be a college degree. Not all require a college, not all careers require a 4-year degree. Some require more than that, and other requires entirely something different, like an apprenticeship or maybe a certification. And Aurelia can take it from here as to more along the lines of what some of the preparation and what some of these things are called.
Thank you, Mr. Soderback. Are we on slide? Can we put it on slide 5?
Yeah.
Please.
We are on 5.
We don't see it on the actual screen. Thank you. So as Mr. Soderback was saying, there's different types of opportunities for you, and the list is here. On the job training programs such as Job Corps, which is the military. As Mr. Soderback mentioned, apprenticeships are also an option and a very good opportunity. Sometimes you'll just maybe need some type of certificate to continue on with your career path. Or you can look into associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or after that you would go into your graduate degrees. And some of those would consist of like a master's degree or a PhD, or you could go into more specific into like law or medical degrees. And then the next slide shows us where you would find that type of training. So for on-the-job training, your company that you're going to be with will provide the training for you. Something like Job Corps for the military, and it's just going to be the organization providing the training for you as well. An apprenticeship, you're going to look for a state certified apprenticeship program, and you can talk to your school counselor, or also to Mr. Soderback in the College and Career Center about how to seek and gain an apprenticeship. You also might need something like a certificate program, and you can look for that at a local community college. And our local community colleges that we have here would be Palomar and Maricosta. And then you also have your associate's degree. And again, you're going to probably look for those at Palomar, Maricosta if you're staying here locally. There's also community colleges throughout California and also out of state as well. And then your bachelor's degree is your 4-year degree, and that's going to consist of like your private universities, your CSUs, your UCs, and then you have your graduate for your professional degrees. And once again, you can look into similar programs like your 4-year universities or other graduate programs that are out there. If by any chance you don't know what is required for your career of choice, you can always look into certain colleges that might offer different things, and go talk to your school counselor about it, or stop by the College and Career Center, or drop us a line and let us know what you need. And then just as a reminder, post-secondary structure, the way that it works, I'm just going to go ahead and explain it. Like a smaller institution that usually offers undergraduate degrees is considered a college. There are even community colleges and junior colleges that provide students with 2-year degrees. Most 4-year colleges offer bachelor's degrees, with some also offering associate's degrees. And then in contrast, an institution that offers both undergraduate and graduate degrees is considered a university. So they offer undergraduate programs that will lead a student towards a master's degree or a doctorate. They can also have a medical or law school for those pursuing professional degrees in those fields. So a university is comprised of many different colleges.
And Morris is going to talk to us a little bit about how there are multiple pathways to get to a degree, and how that might align with what kind of career you're doing. And we've got some great examples.
All right, thank you, Mr. Soderback. So today I'm going to talk about post-secondary pathways, and there are many different pathways, and here are some examples. As soon as you graduate, you can go to a community college, which can take you 1 to 2 years. You can go to community college for 1 to 2 years and then transfer to an undergraduate program. So say you go to Palomar, Maricosta, then you transfer to San Diego State or Cal State San Marcos to complete your bachelor's degree. You can also go straight into a 4-year school, which can be a CSU or a UC. And you can also go straight to a undergraduate program and then straight go into a graduate program. A quick example, I started at a community college level, and then I transferred to a 4-year school to get my bachelor's degree, and then I applied to a graduate program to get my master's in school counseling. Another example is auto mechanics. So for 2 years, you can go straight from Vista High, go to Palomar College and get your associate's degree in auto tech, get an internship, and straight to employment. We also have another example here for bioengineering, which is 7 years. So this pathway consists of graduating from Vista, going to Palomar College and getting an associate's in pre-engineering, and then transfer to UCSD. And then you can then proceed with a graduate degree at UCLA for bioengineering. Perfect. And now we're going to talk about college majors. So a college major is basically a concentration of studies and a series of coursework leading to a degree. So to earn a degree, you typically need to complete the courses required in your declared major. So details of each major are found in each college's catalog. So you want to make sure as soon as you pick an institution that you kind of know what major or what you want to study, what you want to focus on. So when you declare a major, you're basically committing to that major. So some examples can be whether you want to major in sociology or psychology. And then it can either be liberal arts and or science versus a specific major. And so now let's talk a little bit about different college types. So there are different types and they fall into 2 main types. So you have public which are funded by the state taxes and institutions. So you have California State University, San Marcos, San Diego State University. Those are both public institutions funded by state taxes and tuition. Private schools are funded by tuition and private endowment. Some of those can be like UC schools or more private schools. Colleges can also be nonprofit or for-profit. So nonprofit is the objective is to spend all the funds to zero on their mission. For-profit is the objective is to return profit to shareholders.
And one quick mention on the for-profit side here is that we don't feature very many for-profit schools in the college visits we have or to students because they typically aren't the same kind of quality that we find in nonprofit schools.
Perfect. Thank you for adding that, Mr. Soderback. And then lastly, public colleges that are not in your state. So you want to look, if you are considering at a college out of state, keep in mind that it is higher tuition as state taxes are not covering your tuition. You also have the WUE, which is Western colleges with the rate of 1.5 in state rate. And we're also going to talk about college environment. So besides majors, the environment of the college itself plays a huge role for your whole college experience. So this is something to also consider when you're navigating certain colleges and universities. Look at student life, look at certain programs that are offered on campus that can help you navigate it. So some examples might be, look at, the size of the university versus a small college, class sizes. Sometimes classes can be up to 100 students. Versus if you go to a community college, it can be a lot smaller. So those are some things to take into consideration. Also look at housing, dorms and on campus versus on campus living. Links to industry and look at internship programs. So these are all important things to take into consideration when selecting a college. And I highly encourage every one of you to look at student life, look at the college and career center at your campuses that you're thinking about selecting, and take that into account because it does make up a huge portion of your college experience.
I want to talk a little bit about public versus private. Both types of colleges have world-leading universities and colleges and quality education. Top colleges come from both categories. Public community colleges in California right now offer a California promise to any first-time college students and offer free tuition for the first 2 years. You do have to do a little work on that one. You have to go full-time. And of course, you do have to pass all of your coursework while you're there. So that is a subsidy right now, which is a huge benefit if you want to start off for very low cost and then transfer. While public colleges and universities are less expensive overall, many name private colleges have enormous endowments, which means that they can give at their discretion scholarships and grants to promising students. Typically, this is for middle income or lower. They'll waive all, like with the actual grants and scholarships, they'll basically waive your tuition. And your cost to go there might be actually very minimal. So students shouldn't discount private schools as having a huge sticker price because the reality is nobody ever pays that. And if you're coming from middle or lower income, you may find that going to a quality private school might be cheaper than the public option. However, the biggest barrier there is that many of these private institutions are very selective and they're hard to get into. So if you do get into one and you're coming from middle or lower incomes, you can rest assured you will probably not pay much to do it. But again, it is very competitive. I'm also telling you, okay, so we're talking about college exploration today. There's a lot of stuff you can do online on your own. Probably the best thing you can do is come to one of our college visits. These occur both before and after school. I have about 100 of them this year. So there's a document that's linked into here where if you click on this, and this is you'll have a copy of the slides, you'll have a list of all the colleges that are going to be visiting our campus. And of course, they're going to be doing that through Zoom. Usually they're actually here on campus, and we encourage students from any grade level to come attend these. While it's mainly seniors who end up attending these, I also have anywhere from 9th, 10th, or 11th grade students, and these are admissions officers who are coming to answer your questions and give presentations. These are actually the same people who read the applications when you submit them. So they're on that committee. So it really is a smart thing to do to go to this, not only because you'll learn a ton about the admission process and about the different colleges, so you can kind of figure out which one to select, but it also helps you establish a relationship with that admissions officer, right? And show your interest level, and also get a lot of the questions answered that you'd never get answered off of the website. So other things you do to explore, of course, is virtual college night. You're already here for that. We do have several other workshops that are going to be listed. One's going to be on scholarships, and the other one's going to be on financial aid. Then we'll also have one in spring as well. I'll have, of course, we're going to have tons of links in the document here where you can go and see videos from a lot of the local and national colleges. Another good place is College Board. They have a nice little app in there to do college exploration with. So that's also another place to get started. Okay, so every college and university does have its own website. You probably want to go to admissions to get some of the basic details. They all have an online catalog that lists all the courses and degrees they offer. They'll walk you through the freshman application process. They'll talk about student life, housing, etc. So anytime you're interested in a college, you really need to dig in via their website. Most of them, it's very extensive. They have many times a lot of videos and even virtual tours. Typically, I do kind of suggest that before you make a decision on which college you want to actually apply and go to, that you visit the campus. Sometimes that's not practical. Right now is one of those times where, because there's a pandemic going on, we may not have the opportunity to visit that campus itself. Most of them have a virtual tour right now. In the future, when we're not having the pandemic, we do have field trips from campus to a lot of the local colleges, and the students can sign up in the College and Career Center for those. So, and to compare pricing, all of the colleges sort of have a mandate to list what their net cost is on their website. Sometimes you have to dig around a little bit. I've also included 2 other links in here, one called College Navigator, that will give you the lowdown not only on cost and pricing, but how many graduates they actually have in each major each year, their retention and everything else. More information than you'd ever want to know. And then there's another nice one called Tuition Tracker that also goes into detail about what the real cost is to go to a specific college. And remember, for private institutions, they always tell you that no one pays sticker price. There's a lot of flexibility there. So don't let that discourage you from looking at private options. And I'm going to hand it over to Morris now, and she can talk a little bit about terminology counselors use and how to put a college list together.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Soderbeck. So I'm going to briefly talk about safety, target, and reach schools. So you should be applying to 6 colleges, so 2 reach, 2 target, and 2 safety. So reach school is a college where your academic credentials fall in the lower end or even below the school's average range for the cohort of students accepted the previous year. A target school is one where your academic credentials, grades such as ACTs or SATs, fall within the school's average range. And a safety school is where your academic credentials exceed the school's range for the average first-year student. So some example, a safety school for you all can be Cal State San Marcos. A target school can be, let's say, San Diego State or UCSD. And then a reach school can be UCLA or UC Berkeley. So those are some examples. So we want to make sure you at least apply to 2 schools in each of those categories. So next, we're going to talk about the application for public schools. So the community college application, you would apply CCC Apply online. There's no fee required. It's non-competitive. And you also want to ensure you fill out your FAFSA prior to doing that. UCs, so if you're applying to a UC, there are 9 different campuses and just 1 application. So $70 is required for each campus. There is a request fee waiver during the app process, and you can get up to 4 free. And the deadline for that application is November 30th. So it's coming up very quickly. So you want to make sure that if you're applying to any UC schools that you already have started the application, or if you need assistance, please let us know. Mr. Soderbeck did link the links to those applications here in the slideshow that are accessible to you. And then lastly, we have CSU, which are there are 23 campuses and there's one application, and it's the same fee structure. Again, $70 for each campus, and there is a fee waiver during the application process. And the deadline was moved this year to December 4th. So you have a little bit more time to complete that application. But again, we do not want to wait until the last minute to fill in, to submit all of your applications. And again, the links are linked in this PowerPoint for your accessibility.
And of course, you might be applying to a private school, and that's going to have a different application. Luckily, they do have one called the Common App, so you don't have to do individual applications. Most private schools are using the Common App, and that is a little bit more extensive than the UC or CSU, and you do have a sort of a personal statement and essay you need to write with that. One thing I would caution you on is private schools don't work on the same schedule that UC and CSU do. They have early acceptance, they have regular decision times, and then they also, some of them have what's called rolling enrollment, where you can actually sign up anytime you want. So if you're looking at a private school, you're really going to need to do the research to find out when those application deadlines are actually going to hit. Also with private schools, most of them require you to do a step beyond the normal financial aid document called FAFSA. They want you to do a thing called CSS profile, which is a little bit more detailed. Not all of them require this, but many of them do. So if you're applying to a private school, remember, you're going to have to use the Common App, and then you're probably going to need to do the CSS profile as well. Okay, so when it comes down to becoming accepted at a college, almost all the admissions officers I've talked to say that they use what's called a holistic method, which means they're looking at the entire student. While they are looking at things like GPA, in the past they were looking at SAT and ACT scores. By the way, most of the colleges I talked to, with the exception of few, to about 3 or 4 back east, have gone what we call test optional. Many students couldn't take the SAT or ACT this year because of the pandemic, and they understand that. So they're looking at GPA, but they're also looking at if a student has taken challenging coursework, have they been involved in sports, music, did they do community service, have they had internships, personal challenges, etc. They're looking at the student individually, and then they determine acceptance from there. Of course, having good grades and taking challenging coursework is always a benefit. But they also look at that depending upon the high school you're coming from and the area you're coming from and things like that. So there's no easy cut and dry way to say, oh, you're going to automatically be accepted if you do A, B, and C, right? For many colleges and universities, it's a combination, right? And that's also a good thing to ask of the admissions officer at any college, is to find out what they're really looking for in a candidate and things that you can do to set yourself apart. There are some exceptions to this. One is that we have a wave pack agreement with CSU San Marcos. So essentially, if you complete and pass all your A to G course requirements here at high school, maintain a GPA 3.0, of course, you're going to have to do the CSU application and your FAFSA. You will gain acceptance into CSU San Marcos, right? We have a special agreement with them. And then the other point is, community colleges, you're just accepted automatically. Unless there's some exceptional thing, like you've been tossed out for some reason. Palomar, Miracosta, you register with them, you don't really apply to them because they basically will serve anyone within their region. Okay, and so today we kind of went over basics of college exploration. And so I'm going to kind of put the model together of, this is kind of the suggestion of what you should do to get from high school into college. Step one was kind of decide on a career goal or area of interest. So you have to know what you want to go study, right? And the bottom line is, not every college has every major. Different colleges have different focuses, different majors. Some of them are just go to the undergraduate level, some will go to the graduate level. Some careers don't even require you to go to college. If you want to be an electrician, for example, you would go to an apprenticeship instead. And students can find out more information on those through the Career Center. So step two is find a major that aligns with your career goal, right? So, within different majors, there may be many different careers possible coming out of that. So a major is going to be more broad than a simple career. So we don't go to college to do a specific career. We have a major that's an area of study, right? So you want to kind of wind that down so you find, oh, okay, well, I really want to major in that. And then you want to find colleges that have undergraduate degrees or programs in that major and start comparing them, right? Step 4 is, again, you want to create that reach, target, and safety school list, right? So you want to know, okay, here's the schools I'm most likely to get into. I have ones I know I'm guaranteed to get into, and I have a few that I want to really try for, right? Step 5 is talk to an admissions counselor, right? You can either email them. I have a list of literally all of them, or you can attend a presentation, such as the college visits. They're by Zoom right now. And sort of find out, are they really the ones for me and on my list? Step 6 is not for this year, maybe in the future, which is the SAT or ACT. Again, right now, that's kind of been put on the side while the pandemic is going. Step 7 is assemble everything you need to apply to your top school, right? Make sure you've got transcripts ready. Make sure you've talked to your counselor and have them review your applications before you press the button to these. And that's kind of very important, right? Especially if you're applying and you're writing essays and things like that. Make sure your counselors or any other teacher gets their eyes on that and can give you some constructive feedback. Step 8, if you haven't already done this already, complete the FAFSA and make sure you send it to your top school list so they all have that in their financial aid department. And step 9 is come see me and apply for every scholarship possible. Most colleges have their own scholarships available. Okay, so it's like off their website. Apply to those as well. Many of them you can do it in the application process. Well, thank you everybody for coming today, and thank you for Morris for joining me today. We hope you can get you started in the college exploration process. The next step today is you can go on and watch some of our other workshops or watch a lot of the videos from the local and national level colleges that we've assembled.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Soderback, and thanks for having me. Again, if you need support, please come see your school counselor, or you can see me. I'm the intern. I'm currently a college student, so I can give you a lot of support and advice in that area.
Okay, and we'll see everybody in one of the other workshops.